Welcome to 1.6 Mill Rates. We've been looking at our house, our financial obligations for our house, borrowing money, paying it back. How do we get that money from the bank? Now we're going to move on to some obligations we have when we are homeowners. First one we're going to look at is property taxes. But before we do that, we have to take a little step back. We need to look at the city of Winnipeg and the way they make money. The city of Winnipeg needs to pay for libraries, for road repairs, to pay for the mayor's salary. They need to require some money for that. Well, we're going to look at 4 ways that the city of Winnipeg produces revenue. Now, this could be for any municipality, but because most of us live in Winnipeg, we're going to focus on Winnipeg. First one is entertainment tax. If a company wants to shoot a movie or something like that in the city of Winnipeg, they're going to pay entertainment tax. This allows them to block off a few city blocks, make some minor changes to the landscape to fit their needs. Now they pay this tax and they have the right to do this. Next one is our user fees. When you ride the bus, it's over $2. If you pay library fines or speed camera fines, this money goes to the city of Winnipeg, to just their general revenue. Third one is probably the largest one, is support payments. The city of Winnipeg, being the lowest level of government, will actually receive a payment from both the federal and the provincial governments in order to run and meet their budgetary needs. The fourth one is one we're going to focus on, and that's property taxes. Property taxes are charged to whoever owns property inside the municipality. So if you own a house, an apartment block, you're going to be paying some form of property taxes. Now, what are these property taxes used for? Well, 3 main things. The first one is just going to the general city's revenue. The next one is to do any repairs or improvements to your actual property. This last year, I have a tree on my boulevard on my house. It died, so the city came out, pulled out the tree, and planted a new one. So the cost for that is hidden in my property taxes. The last one is to pay for schools. Now, if you live in the Little Rail School Division, or you own property in the Little Rail School Division, you are paying to run each of the schools. Nelson McIntyre is a fine example of that. You're also paying to run the entire education system. The whole province of Manitoba. If you are in grade 12, you're going to be taking a provincial exam at the end of the year, end of the semester. Everybody in the province takes that. It costs quite a bit of money to run that exam. The money for that comes out of our property taxes. So before we look at our actual property taxes, we need to understand the idea of mill rates. So I'm going to move down just slightly here. Now, our property taxes are based on this idea of mills. Mills is a number that has been developed for property taxes that determines how much each property is required to pay. Now, we're going to see it's also based on the value of our property, but the municipality has to come up with a mill rate that it's going to charge each property for the year. Now, this mill rate changes from year to year, and it also changes from municipality to municipality. So the city of Winnipeg's mill rate will be different from the city of Brandon, municipality of Hanover. They will each have set their own mill rate. Now, how do they determine what this mill rate is going to be? Well, the first thing they do is they look at the required revenue. How much money do they actually need in order to meet their financial obligations? What's their budget? And they're going to divide that by the total assessed value of all the properties in the municipality. Every house, school, every property is assessed a value. They will add up the value of all these properties to get the total assessed value for the municipality. Then to make it into a mill rate, they're going to multiply it by 1,000. This mill rate will then be used to determine how much property tax each individual property owner must pay. So let's look at how we are determining these mill rates. So a town needs an $850,000 to meet its budget. Its total assessed value of all its properties is $33,650,000. Let's determine this municipality's mill rate in mills. So I take my required revenue. So my revenue divided by my total assessed value. The revenue was $850,000. I'm going to divide that by the value of $33,650,000. Now to make this into a mill rate in mills, I'm going to multiply by $1,000, or 1,000. This multiplying by 1,000 is going to be a key point when we actually look at how to do our property taxes. So I'm just going to take these two numbers and divide them. 850,000 divided by 33,650,000, and I get 0.0252. I'm going to times by 1,000 to get a mill rate of 25.2 mils. So this particular town will charge its property owners a mill rate of 22.2 mils. How they actually charge that will be looked at in the next lesson. Now sometimes we want this mill rate not in mils, but rather as a percentage. So when we are determining this as a percentage, we're not going to times it by 1,000 like we did for the mills, but at percentages we only times by 100. So again, it's the same start to the formula. We take our required revenue of $850,000. We divide by the total assessed value of $33,650,000. And then we times it by 100. Now we've already taken these two numbers and divided them. We know that is 0.0252. And then we're going to times it by 100 to make it into a percent. And our mill rate as a percent is 2.52%. So this particular municipality will have a mill rate of 25.2 mils, or 2.52%. Now we have a quick lesson on how to do some questions, 1, 2, and 3.